Beardy and the Beast, The Second Wall.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. This is a placeholder intro song.
Welcome to The Second Wall, a binge-free zone where we will look at a series and discuss it in small chunks, similar to water cooler conversations of old. We can be found on most podcast and social media platforms, a full list of which can be found at beardyandthebeast.com. Today we'll be discussing the Netflix series Squid Game. With me, of course, is Drew. Please feel free to join the conversation in the comments below.
Looks like the moon, where I'm from.
What is this, Kaguya?
I thought that same thing when 199 said that.
Yeah.
I was like, making moon comments. I'm like, on the moon are ya? Looks like they're bringing 212,
Yes.
the so-called mother, who I don't think is one,
No, I don't buy it.
and a mysterious 111. It's one thing that I have notated down as 111 question mark. It's when they were walking down the stairs, one of the guards said to your left, and then was motioned by one of the guards. So
And we did kind of talk about, I don't remember if we actually said in the past or while talking afterwards, but is there a plan?
There might be.
Yeah.
Could be, it could be a plant, or it could be my other thought. Legacies and returning, and potential legacies coming back as resistance.
Yes.
As what you saw in Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less convinced on that now, but it's still a possibility.
Yeah.
So 111's definitely going to be out there as a what's 111's deal, because they didn't seem to have any legs up. No lighter like 212. Seemed to do it the legit way as well.
Yeah.
So wondering about that.
And some people definitely were. It's 18's a dick.
Yeah, so before they unveiled the game, like because of the name of this one, the Man with the Umbrella, I thought it'd end up being the Korean drinking card game. At least I've only played it while drinking, so I associate it with a drinking game.
All right.
But it's like a game of matching cards, and one of them is a person with an umbrella. So I thought it was going to be related to that.
Kind of a old maid type.
I don't know what Old Maid is.
All right.
I know that's weird. Instead, it was like this bubble toffee game. And it seemed like 218 knew it was.
Yes.
Yet, I mean, he did hesitate, but it wasn't for long.
So, here's the thing. He knew what the game was. Yes, he did hesitate when 456 went to choose the umbrella. So, there's that glimmer of, oh, you're dead. But if he, and I mean, I said this in the predictions last time, he's not going to actually be part of the group.
Oh, yeah, 218.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I saw there. It's like, specifically, it's like, is he chose triangle, the easiest of them. And he knew this.
So it does seem pretty clear that he's playing to win himself.
Yeah.
And he's just using this association to control the game around him.
Yeah. Because the prize money goes up if you die.
Even then, like, it's implied that the last one standing.
Yeah.
So I think they even said...
they specifically said, if you survive all 6 games, you get... Yeah, no, they did specifically say that. I agree that there's definitely a last man standing aspect there. But he...
Well, I guess he needs... he needs $6 million.
Yeah.
So he definitely needs a huge chunk of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Like, I saw that right away. I'm like... Now, the question is, do you think anyone else in the coterie is going to notice that?
Oh... 199 or 001 is going to die by 218's hands. Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Originally, when he started having, when he sent, I guess he didn't send it, but when 456 went to the umbrella, I had this feeling like, was he propping up his friend? And then when I realized what the game was, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
That is the very opposite.
Yeah. I didn't quite know what the game was exactly. But just the idea of just the fact that he was going to speak up, I'm like, yeah, no, that whatever it is, he chose wrong. And yeah, didn't do anything to try to help him. Like, I mean, I guess that would have given up his whole, what I'm seeing as his motivation right now.
The thing is, I think what I'm about to say is not what I'm not implying
Okay.
what you would first come to think. I think he knows 456 is capable and actually quite clever. But I don't mean to say that he thought that 456 would be able to accomplish it. I'm just saying it seems to me that he knows that there was the possibility, but it was still a dick move for him to not be like, choose the triangle as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Like, I think there's a little bit there. Actually, with that actually just made something in my head that I wonder about.
If 456 is the reason why 218 was able to like get a good score or something.
Yep.
Well, maybe 218 stole because they do like SAT style testing.
Yeah.
In Korea.
Yeah. No, the second you said that, because in the first episode he talked about how he helped him get to.
Mm.
And if something like that is the case, that will definitely make me feel. That's one of those things that's definitely going to start playing on those sympathies for 456 if that's actually the case.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is that also props 218 in even worse light than before.
Yeah.
Because it means that 456 was the reason why 218 was ever to get any success, and he still sent him to potential death.
Yeah.
Ugh. Now I'm also wondering, actually, before I talk about that, how about 29?
29.
The policeman, Junho.
Yeah.
Luckiest SOB.
Yeah.
Handsomest SOB.
Yeah. I marked him down as G29 just to separate in case it shows up elsewhere. So there's a couple things with G29, and kind of felt a little bit the same thing with 212 and 67 as well. This is where I'm starting to see a little bit of in the setup of the show. Come on, how did you not see the car following you the entire way? You'd been driving for hours. And then not see the guy sneak into the right up the side of the car and duck in underneath one, and not go, oh, well, look at all these rules he's breaking. And like, it felt like the plot armor was heavy on 29. And then at the same time I go, it's like, but for what reason is G28 suspicious of G29? Because it seems to be pretty clear that they don't actually know anyone. And then kind of the same thing with like 212 and 67, that tangential just how the guards acted. It's like, really, I'm surprised you didn't just have her pop a squat in the room there.
I think a squat should have been popped.
Yes. And even without that, we clearly see all of this monitoring everywhere, except in the bathrooms.
Like,
and the guard doesn't even like go into the bathroom with them. It's like, sure, have your individual stall.
It's probably just a bit of lazy writing for story's sake.
Yeah. And really I point those points out because that's the first real instance I saw of that. And both those examples were just seem so glaring to me. I don't think it really I think it's in service of the plot, but not too put off by it, but I'd be remiss in not mentioning it.
True, true. What about Black Mask? Papa G.
Yeah. So I'm. We don't know too much about him yet, but the things that we do is I don't get what his thing is. It's like when he's watching the very first game from episode 1, it's like very childish music, like toys, singing "Fly Me to the Moon." It is all just a game to him. That's really what I have there. I'm kind of playing. It's like, are the guys in red also stuck to their own game as well? Kind of entered my head. Um, there's something similar to that in Alice in Borderland,
Mm.
where they did something very similar to that. So that's entered my head. I'm not sure. Clearly, don't break the rules for any reason. I don't think I know much else about him. Though I have a suspicion that I've been playing this in my head. Like, I almost wonder if guys in red and Black Mask are somehow known to the players.
Oh yeah, I have a prediction for that.
All right.
So I'll kind of like talk about that. Looks like before we get into that, of course, talk about some themes and things. So you're right, cadre is forming.
Yep.
We have some team formations. 212 trying to get with 101 and their expendables.
Yeah.
And then you have 456, 001, 199, and kinda 218.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right on the money with that. I'm wondering, one thing I liked was the kind of juxtaposition of like the playful, like kind of childlike music and like the death game and the people being shot.
I know we complained about this in Buddy, where they overdid that type of thing. But it fits the theme. It is the theme of this.
Yeah.
So it would be odd if it didn't have that, I think.
I like that it wasn't to the beat.
Mm.
The shots.
Yes.
And it was kind of like shots and then music.
Yeah. I really enjoy that they keep the mass panic that happens when a shot goes out. Which actually, there was one thing that did surprise me a little bit with that. Seeing how shaky 101 got when the first gunshot went off. That actually surprised me. They seemed to imply that that's the lifestyle he's used to. So I figured he would have a little bit stronger nerves than he seemed to.
Yeah, but then again, those nerves would be directly tied to his capabilities in accomplishing the task.
That's fair.
Which he didn't seem to be doing quite well. So it's kind of more of a countdown to his own death until he got a hand. I did notice another thing alongside our standard gifts, or pink ribboned black gifts we saw on the forklift. They seem to like doing shots of like repetitive shots, like the vans going out into the distance, or the people walking down the stairs, or even that entire I forget the artist that did that, the Never Ending Stairs.
Sure.
That much like the Labyrinth, right?
Yeah.
It seems, and the bunks. There's a lot of like these grids and lines. So from a film standpoint, it's kind of something that they've been repeatedly doing.
Yeah, I wonder if it's trying to just give, like, the Escher side, I think, is just that it's trying to play into the childlike scene we're seeing everywhere else. It feels like a play on house. The repeated shots, I think, like we're doing their numbers. So it doesn't matter because you're just seeing this repeated shot of all this line of cars. You're just one of a few hundred people. Is what I kind of figured they were going for that. It works. Definitely makes you feel like you're stuck in the machine.
Yeah, and that's like that as a film technique is really uh, exemplifying that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's doing a really good job. So then brings us to predictions, which, so what you mentioned before, the people in the game being somehow known, or sorry, the people in the jumpsuits somehow being known to the people in the game.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it is entirely possible that it's the children and youth that are directly impacted by the decisions of these adults.
Hmm. Yeah. I could see that actually. It's so I wrote down a while back that I think they know them when um Square gets killed. I kind of put a note, and then I immediately went, no, I'm sticking with the they know them somehow.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't expecting a kid, and when the guy had him unmask, they played with it because they gave that. I thought they were going for a hint of recognition, but it's like, oh no, just a kid. So I could see it being the children. I kind of like that. So maybe not known, but connected somehow.
But
But they almost feel like prisoners themselves. So that's what else is going on with that?
it could be to like relieve their debts.
Mm.
Like, honestly, I'm beginning to feel like this series is going to fall apart soon.
Mm.
Just like lots of big concepts being shoehorned in
Mm.
is what we're about to see instead of going with the lines that it's already established.
Well, I could see potential in that, but actually, no, I don't know if they will go much bigger concept, actually. I'm gonna actually go back to your idea, Saw, when you called that in. That's part of it as well, is in about the second chances, and maybe it's not Saw, but there's other movies in that kind of genre where it's about making amends to the people you'd wronged
Mm.
in one way or another. So that could be. It doesn't really need to go much bigger than it being, yeah, like you said, the kids that are affected or people that are affected by whatever had happened.
See, I think that's a big jump in its own.
Yeah.
I think if they were to include anything like that, that would be one of those poorly written big concepts just being shoehorned in.
If it's a thing, I would like to see it being a thing revealed at the end of the series. If they reveal something like that too early, I would agree. They do it at the end, or as like a lead into a season 2 or something.
Mm.
I would be okay with that.
So then is G29's brother contestant or someone in the jumpsuit?
Yeah, that is a question. That's
I think that's where they're setting that up for.
so. What are your predictions on 212?
212?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not particularly interested in her character. I mean, it's too much effort to get a cigarette. I'll tell you that right now. Um, if anything, she might actually team up with 101 and then cause. She could be the cause of 101's downfall if he doesn't have a redemption moment.
Okay.
It could be a case of her using him as a stepping stone.
I'm honestly surprised she didn't die in this episode.
I thought she was gonna die too.
Yeah. She seems to me like she seems very similar to 67.
But like soap opera 67.
Yeah. Like just kind of like that negative, like the negative side of, like the flip side of the coin, and it actually comes across as crappy. That's what I got from it. I was just curious on that.
This one actually had a game.
Yes.
Unlike, I mean, the previous one, arguments could be made that it technically a game of some sort. So that was the bubble toffee.
Mm-hmm.
50-50. I make it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I don't have that skill. I've never done that before. I think I'm clever enough I would have devised a way. But
Would you have done it in
I could do it in the 10 minutes, but could I do it in the 10 minutes with gunshots? Or would I like shake and then break it
Yeah.
or something.
I don't think I would have. I don't think I'd get through that.
No.
I don't trust my dexterity enough.
Hmm.
Is the big thing, like tracing lines and stuff like that. I am not the best at, and that's why I would put myself on the. I mean, if I got, like, it would have been luck. 'Cause I had no indication of the game. If I was lucky and got the triangle, I'd probably be able to figure out how to get out of that pretty quickly. But most of the other shapes, I just don't think. I just think I'd be too clumsy.
I don't think I would have went with the triangle.
Yeah.
Because the playground equipment. There was 2 items that showed triangles,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the swings and the slide.
Right.
And because of lack of cultural knowledge, I probably would assume they would have corresponded, and it would have been something like the floor is lava.
Mm.
Yeah. Which means I would have went with circle or umbrella. I would have thought of something like I would have been wrong.
Yeah.
Because I need a structure that I can maintain a high enough position on, especially if there's other people wrestling for it.
Yeah.
So I would have tried to get on the jungle gym.
That
Whereas on the monkey bar and the slide would be king of the hill, monkey bar might be people just hanging. So I need something I can prop myself on. Yeah. So that's how I would have been wrong. The other perception would be integrity of the shapes. I could have picked triangle because it's the strongest shape in that bunch.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have picked star. Probably would have went circle.
Yeah, I probably would have gone. See, this is, again, it's that lack of cultural knowledge. Because when I'm looking at those shapes, when I think of a game with shapes and such, like, seeing an umbrella in that mix stands out to me too much. Right? I would have seen waves would have made sense to me, or a square would have made sense. An umbrella would be made and go, there's something special about that. And so, again, not knowing what the game was, I was thinking of like other games that kind of came to mind. It's like maybe not a specific game, just things that I would do with shapes like that. It's like, okay, well, you've got to be the one to get to them. So you'd start out in that place of advantage, but have, basically be gunning for you to try to grab your piece or something.
Yeah.
That's where I thought it would go. They'd probably have me start with umbrella just because it's so different from my cultural.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either that or probably circle would have been the ones I thought of. I agree, I wouldn't have picked. I don't see a reason to pick star.
Yeah, star makes sense to me. Tell you what, he definitely dealt. The ways to cheat the game were used.
Yes.
That was moisture and the lighter.
Yes.
I'm not a lighter. I would not have had a lighter.
Yeah.
So
in theory, no one would.
But given the fact that it appeared to be toffee, I wouldn't have licked it. I probably would have just spat on
it. So I wouldn't have.
Mm.
Because what happens if you get it inside the lines and now lost the integrity of
It's just what I would have would have done. I mean, be careful. You spit on the outside.
Yeah.
And you work it in. Just make it softer.
Yeah.
The licking, however funny, again, was kind of clever.
Yeah.
I thought the funny shot of him licking and then people being like, oh, licking behind him.
Just like clicking. It kind of surprised me that everyone just kind of, that's what was happening. Because I could see people in that situation being more like, well, he doesn't think he's getting through this. He's just going for like a last meal.
Oh, there was one kind of add-in that I thought was cool, that they implanted them all with chips.
Yeah.
So that being like important, especially when it's clear that the jumpsuit people are also chipped.
Oh, that's actually brought me up another interesting thing that you mentioned that. One that's another plot hole. You still didn't know, doesn't trigger an alarm that the guy wasn't being scanned. But, they implied that they actually didn't do anything to the people who didn't come back, which actually surprises me.
What surprised me, because I was just making that assumption that they probably weren't going to do anything.
Yeah.
What surprised me was that they're continuing to monitor them.
Mm.
So, kind of going back to the prediction thing, it's possible we might see another wave. Contestants come in, the people, the other 7% of people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yeah, it's just it's because the rules so specifically, if you choose not to participate, if you refuse to play the game, you'll be eliminated. So that's why it's, that 7% of the people have refused to play a game.
Yeah, but I mean, you could easily explain that away by simply saying it's a new segment of games. So the previous ones were over because it was voted to an end. So now we have a new. So they're no longer contestants because that game is over.
I'll play with that in my head a little bit because
it's the only way it makes sense.
Yeah, it's the only way it makes sense. It's for Black Mask seeming to be so particular about the rules. Seems like a weird leap to me. But I mean, it could also be now that Game 2 has happened, now they haven't participated. Whereas at any point up until then, could have participated still.
Yeah, that would be making the assumption that both segments are the one game instance.
Yes.
Opposed to two. I think they'll treat it as two.
Yeah.
Story-wise. And I mean, it wouldn't be a hole to do so.
Not a hole, just more of a I'm surprised.
Oh, the true way to win is to not to participate.
Yeah. With that, everyone just lost the game. Thanks for huddling around the second wall with us here tonight. Join us next time as we continue our discussion on Squid Game. Please join the conversation in the comments, in social media, or on our Discord, as we would love to continue the conversation there. Again, a full list can be found at beardyandthebeast.com. Thank you, and have a great night.